Now, I'm leaving that slide for a while. Next slide. Roman Jakobson described literature as organized violence committed on ordinary speech. Poetic language or literature is organized violence. There was a normal, innocent sentence. I saw a falcon this morning. This Hopkins is pouncing upon this sentence, ripping it apart, changing it. It is organized violence. What Hopkins has done is organized violence committed on ordinary speech. Did you understand? I saw some daffodils. That is a sentence that Wordsworth also transforms. I saw some daffodils. In the beginning, he is adding some figures of speech. Who is this I? The one who wandered lonely as a cloud. And what is this cloud that floats on high over vales and hills? Then, how did I see? All at once I saw. What did I see? Daffodils. Some daffodils. Instead of some, a host of golden daffodils. What kind of daffodils? Like that, he's changing, isn't it? So, ordinary language is deformed through some organized violence. That is poetry. There is a passage that I found in Lolita. It doesn't make any sense to us because it is organized violence committed on ordinary speech. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, exhibit number 1 is what the seraphs, the misinformed, simple, noble winged seraphs envied. It means it's a beautiful girl. This is a pretty girl. Instead of saying that, they are saying, this, exhibit number 1, this is what the seraphs, the misinformed, simple, noble winged seraphs envied. Look at this tangle of thorns. Tangle of thorns is, she has committed a mistake. She has committed some crime. Now, this passage is very different from a statement like, the assignment for next week is on page 84, isn't it? You have a test next week. That you very well understand, don't you? Even though you pretend you don't. You have a test this afternoon, better still. That you understand very well. Because it is ordinary language. The other language is deformed in such a way that it should not be easily intelligible, like wasteland. The wasteland could have been written in very simple language. Oh, what a wasteland this Europe is. We are all suffering in this wasteland. Like that he could write, right? Why didn't he write? Because that is cheap poetry. Great poetry is that which nobody understands quickly. And in your struggle to understand, you will think about it, you will get more, you have an active role. In the routines of everyday speech, our perceptions of and responses to reality become stale. In the routines of everyday speech, sometimes I forget you, I am talking in a monotonous way. I'm teaching without any energy, I'm talking like that. Suddenly I find that you're all automatically, you're not paying attention, your minds are, you're on the screensaver mode. And you're simply nodding your heads like that. Some of you are going off to sleep. Hey, are you paying attention? Suddenly I ask. That is when I defamiliarize it. Then suddenly, oh, yes, we are paying attention. Or I ask you, okay, what did I say just now? What does it mean? Like that I ask a question. That is also a defamiliarization technique. Then you suddenly sit up and your stale, blunted responses suddenly become refreshed. Did you understand? You know, in the routines of everyday speech, our perceptions of and responses to reality become stale, blunted. As the formalists would say, automatized. It becomes automatic, mechanized. Literature makes you stop and look more closely at familiar scenes. We start thinking, our responses become fresh. Not automatized, but fresh. Intellectual, creative. The other is passive. Did you understand? Now, before we go into the next slide, some more points. Roman Jakobson understood that language has a bipolar structure. It is something that some of you might have studied, the metaphor and metonymy. Roman Jakobson was inspired by Ferdinand de Saussure. He believed that language has a bipolar structure. This idea was later taken up by Lacan, Jacques Lacan. He says language oscillates between the two poles of metaphor and metonymy. Language is either metaphoric or metonymic. What is a metaphor? Instead of your sweetheart's face, you say rose or moon. That is metaphor. In Andrea del Sarto, Andrea says, my moon. Whose moon? Lucretia looks at him. He says, everybody's moon. What everybody's moon? What do you mean? Lucretia again. Andrea says, which everybody looks on and calls his, but sees no one or something. Then Lucretia is happy. Moon is up there. Everybody wants to call the moon his own moon, but the moon belongs to nobody. Happy. When Andrea says, my moon, that is metaphor. Metaphor is something stands in place of another. Instead of Lucretia or her face, moon stands. In metaphor, there is similarity between the moon and the face. There is a similarity between the moon and the face. And in metaphor, the face is substituted by the moon, isn't it? In metaphor, Lucretia's face is substituted by the moon because they are similar. Clear? Fair and round. So, metaphor means substitution. Metaphor means similarity. What is metonymy? Metonymy is, instead of one thing, anything cannot stand, but one related thing stands. Instead of face, you can't say moon because they are not related. I mean, there is no closeness. But instead of king, you can say crown. If you say crown instead of king. When you say 5 hands worked in the field, that is metonymy. Actually, synecdoche, which is actually a kind of metonymy. Synecdoche is a kind of metonymy. Metonymy is when, instead of one, a related, similar thing stands. The tenor and vehicle are similar. So, no, not similar, related. Closeness is there, not similar. Similar means they are different, but similar. Closeness means they are related in some way. Either one belongs to the other, or one uses the other, one is related to the other. Instead of flower, you can say thorn if you want. For example, now, metonymy therefore denotes closeness. A good word for closeness is contiguity. C-O-N-T-I-G-U-I-T-Y. And in metonymy, there is condensation. The whole area in which king is there, crown is there, that is an area, isn't it? King, crown, that is condensing in metonymy. So, what does Roman Jakobson say? Roman Jakobson says that language has a bipolar structure. Where it oscillates between the axes of metaphor and metonymy. I'm wrong about condensation, that is what I'm thinking. Condensation is actually metaphor. Metonymy is displacement. Yeah, that is right. What I said just now is wrong. Once again, I'll explain. Metaphor is similarity, metonymy is closeness. That is clear, isn't it? Metaphor is similarity, metonymy is closeness. Now, I will explain that condensation bit once again. Freud, that comes from Freud. It is not Roman Jakobson who talked about condensation and displacement. It is Lacan. Freud said the unconscious works in two ways, through condensation and displacement. Okay? Roman Jakobson did not say this. Freud said the unconscious works in two ways, through condensation and displacement. Now, Lacan says Jakobson's metaphor and metonymy and Freud's condensation and displacement are similar. They are parallel, analogous. Lacan says metaphor is condensation and metonymy is displacement. Displacement is, instead of king, you are displacing the meaning to say crown. Did you understand? But in the other case, moon, face, everything condensed into one image. The qualities of moon, the qualities of woman, everything is there in that one image. Metaphor is condensation in Lacan, metonymy is displacement. That is correct. Now, Jakobson says that romantic periods were metaphoric. Romantic language is metaphoric and modernist language is metonymic. Romantic language is not really, not modernist, realist. Realist language is metonymic. Romanticism is metaphoric, realism is metonymic. That is what Jakobson says.